on HBO. We've talked about The Vow on this show. He actually, and good for him, or was it he sued HBO or was it someone else?
Someone else. A different documentary that was on Stars, I believe it was, called Seduced. That was also about the NXIVM group.
Yeah, check chat, please, Dan. Now he said, oh, it is. Okay, good. Now he said, I recently saw your coverage of poking holes in the Andrew Tate narrative, which is true. Now, I've been critical of Andrew Tate, but I think he does a lot of good things too. And it's just not fair. All he wants to do is help a generation of men, and then so what? He's the bad guy? Men need
there is a direct line between there's a direct line between Andrew Tate, his victims, and his fandom, and NXIVM. Okay, it is identical. The methods are very similar, and the output is also pretty similar too. It's just that NXIVM wasn't as popping on social media. So Ethan eviscerates this cult member. For those of you who don't know, this was a cult that basically also started with self-help shit that turned into a sex cult. Ethan is going to have a conversation with a cult member who's trying to run PR for the cult itself. And I think he did a pretty good job with this. So let's take a look.
That's where me and Mark Elliott agree. Given your commitment to pursue truth and openness to challenge prevailing narratives, Mark said in his email to me, I believe you would be fascinated with my story and the recent developments that have unfolded in the case against Mr. Ramirez. Specifically, 7 digital forensic experts, including 4 former FBI, have come forward with evidence showing that with scientific certainty that the FBI tampered with the child prawn digital evidence in the trial. Keith was convicted of having child P word and, all kinds of other horrible stuff, which he's all innocent of, according to Mark. Also, the one thing that I find really interesting about Mark is that through NXIVM and with Keith's teaching, Mark, who has Tourette syndrome, is complete. He just said, I'm done. He did my mind.
He faked that, by the way. He didn't have Tourette syndrome. But that was a big component in justifying the truth about, or selling the truth of the cult.
And
mine
is
also,
more
Ethan
powerful
is
than
trolling.
matter. And I'm done with Tourette's, he said. So he asked me, would you be open for a short call? He says, I have no doubt you will be at least very intrigued. Thanks for your time. So that's Mark, inspirational speaker. And I said to myself, I am interested. I do want to talk to Mark. And so Mark is actually on the phone, and we've been setting this up for a couple of weeks. So Mark, whenever you're ready, there he is. Thanks, man, for being here. It's so awesome to meet someone like you.
That's great. Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. No, I can hear you great.
Okay, perfect. I heard a little bit of the introduction. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. So why did you reach out to me? I guess, first of all,
Yeah, he looks like Austin to an uncontrollable degree. It is weird, dude. He looks exactly like Austin.
About your whole journey. Maybe you could start there.
Well, as I had wrote you in the email, myself, my team, we had been researching different people that are willing ultimately to challenge the status quo.
Right.
And of course, the Andrew Tate was one of the biggest stories. It was an international story. And there was, some people like yourself that were willing to at least question.
Right.
With our situation with Keith and NXIVM is that there has been basically one narrative for the past 5 years. This actually started about 5 years ago. It was in 2000. It was in October of 2017.
Now,
when
just
the New
to
York
clarify,
Times article.
Keith Ramirez is the leader, I guess, I don't know what's the correct term, of NXIVM, and he was convicted for, it was 7 different felonies, huh? But he didn't do any of it.
Yeah, so I'll definitely get to all of that. What he was convicted of many different things, including sex trafficking, forced labor, racketeering,
wire fraud.
Yes, although I believe wire fraud. Yeah. Now, although I believe, he's innocent, that's ultimately not why I reached out to you.
Right.
It was given the fact that the narrative was, basically an international narrative creating this, basically was a hate campaign against.
Bro, he's literally Austin through the Chad filter. Like, it's just so weird, man. It's so weird, dude. It's yassified Austin. It's freaking me out, dude. I can't look at his face. It feels so strange, dude.
Keith Raniere and NXIVM and the community.
Sure.
Anyone that was trying to speak out was basically vilified. Anyone that came out in support of, forget Keith, even just came out of support of NXIVM was vilified in the media.
I actually really support NXIVM. I think it's super interesting what they've been able to do. I want to say Andrew Tate.
What an interesting take to just even say out loud.
I totally poke holes in that. Like, I don't know if you've been following the case in Romania, but like there's so many red flags that says he's innocent. I don't know if you've been following that.
I haven't been following it closely. Obviously, it's definitely been something I've been watching from afar, as it seems like there's just a lot of similarities in the fact that, we live in a time that if you make someone a monster in the media, it's, guilty, basically you're guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
You then, the authorities can then ultimately do whatever.
Okay, well, but like he was literally guilty in a court of law. Like he was proven to be guilty. He's in jail, for the record.
They want to the person.
Sorry to cut off. Actually, Keith was convicted of 7 crimes, though.
Yeah, the reason I said that is because before the trial even happened, he was already vilified and made a monster. You even have, even on the Dr. Oz show, this was before Keith was even arrested. You have Dr. Oz saying on national television that Keith raped and tortured women.
Oh my God.
Now, just so you know, even after he was convicted of these charges, and this is what's mind-blowing for a lot of people, Keith Raniere, who's this alleged sex cult leader of an international sex cult, if you actually look at the charges and the evidence of what he was convicted for, there's not a single charge. This is crazy. There's not a single charge of violence, weapons, or drugs, and there's not a single charge of Keith Raniere having sex with someone.
Well, let's see here. Count 2.
What?
Let's see. Sexual exploitation of a child. He was convicted of that, right? Because I want to clear his name with you. So he was convicted of sexual exploitation of a child, possession of child pornography. He was convicted of trafficking for labor and services, extortion, sex trafficking, forced labor, attempted sex trafficking. So he tried and failed, but in other ways he was successful. That's what they claim, right? But it's outrageous that and he was never, he was never violent, and so that kind of says it all, huh?
Yeah, I want to be super clear. There's most of what people have heard about Keith in the media, and then what the government, put out there in the media as well, is, in my opinion, completely false. And most of it is completely fabricated.
Right.
Again, that's not my intent of why I wanted to come, on and talk with you guys. Obviously, if we had longer, conversations, we could look at more specifics and things about Keith Raniere and who he is as a person. But in the emails, why I got in touch with you is that one of the things that happened right before the trial, here you had an investigation for a whole year, and there were 6 co-defendants, and this whole case was about consenting adults. And then 55 days before trial,
it was also about wire fraud, trafficking, racketeering, child pornography.
Yeah, so those were all the different charges.
Okay.
But even with
sorry. Go ahead.
Well, just to be clear though, even with all of these horrific charges,
dude, Ethan, for all of his like weak moments where he like says wild shit, this is Ethan Klein at his fucking best. Okay, when you put him up against like an absolute demon, okay, an absolute demon who is like defending a convicted sex trafficker, like child pornographer, okay, he is so fucking good at just trolling the literal living shit out of a dude like this, who just made a major mistake. A major mistake of not doing his research and coming on this fucking show.
Trafficking, forced labor,
Yeah.
racketeering.
Wire
None
fraud.
of the co-defendants had pled guilty.
None of
Wire
the
You think
fraud.
writing
None
is
of the-
crazy right now? You'll understand why I'm saying this when you watch this video.
Right, right.
None of them have pled guilty, which is almost unheard of in federal court. I think it's like 97%.
You couldn't
of people
flip
take
them
plea
because
deals.
they're innocent. There's nothing to flip.
So the thing is that 55 days before trial, all of a sudden the FBI found child pornography. And when I say child pornography, they found 22 photos of a nude woman on an external hard drive. It wasn't on his computer. It wasn't on a camera. It was on a random external hard drive in a residence that many people frequent in. It wasn't even Keith's home. So of course, the moment they found that, it completely changed the whole dynamic of the case, where now you have minors involved.
Right, and
not only
they
did
could have
charge him with-
planted. I mean, the FBI has a track record of doing stuff like that. I mean, they're just monsters. The FBI, I don't trust them at all, and I think they probably planted it. But my concern, at least just from the optics point of view, because again, I'm on your guys' side. Camille was a 15-year-old who testified. She wrote a victim statement, impact statement, that said that he actually raped her when she was 15. And she put out a statement and all that. It's crazy. She said she met him when he was 13. And then when she was 15, he was 45 and he slept with her. But that's just, why was she lying like that?
Yeah, so I want to make something very clear. I don't support sexual assault against women in any way.
No, I know.
Any of my
I
friends
know, of course.
who are out there.
So what's the argument? But like young girls that are 15 is like what? Free reign? Like what's this motherfucker saying? He's like choosing his words very carefully. He's like, not women. But 15-year-olds though, it's like 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds, that's different. Like,
I just
what
want
the
to make
fuck?
that very clear,
Of
as it's a very
course.
sensitive subject.
Yeah, of course.
I'm
What
glad
I
he
was-
made it very clear. And then the but, dude, he said, but. That's wild. That's a wild thing to say but over, dude. How about you keep the but part of the conversation locked up, locked away?
saying though, and then I will get to the she did say those things, but what's important to
okay,
realize is
okay.
that the child pornography was all of a sudden found 55 days before trial, and then all other co-defendants pled guilty. So not only was he charged with possession of child pornography, he then was also charged with sexual exploitation of a minor, which is probably one of the most egregious charges somebody can get against them, charged against them, which ultimately is
Everybody knows it's literally illegal to find further evidence. Like, sorry, when you're doing an investigation, you can't find additional evidence. Oopsie, it just like doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Investigations immediately must stop. Halt! Cease your investigations into the matter now.
a death sentence for many people.
Yeah, and
once
just
they're
to
in
go back
jail.
to what you're saying, 55 days before trial, it's like, when did they have the time to investigate that, you know?
Well, they also had this hard drive.
During the investigation and discovery period, it is illegal to discover new evidence. Yes, that's what he said.
And this alleged camera for over a year.
So yeah,
that's the context which happened right before trial. Yes, Camille, her name is Cami. She did give a victim impact statement, but what is important for people to realize is that a victim impact statement is after the trial is over, after the verdict. So it's a statement not given under oath. Well after the trial
you're
was over, and
saying-
she also didn't testify.
You think she's lying, essentially. I mean, or at least there'd be no consequence to her lying, right?
That's my point. I'm not here to debate whether or not.
Yeah, you don't want to call her a
not, but
liar. I get it. But you know what's crazy?
What I'm saying is,
okay, go ahead. Yeah,
what I'm just saying, it's important that we live, if we want to live in a society that has due process and we care about justice, it's important to question.
Absolutely.
It's important to question. And my point is, if somebody gives a victim impact statement and says, I was raped and this happened, I'm not saying that's not true, but you can't say that that's ultimately true due process when someone's not under oath.
For sure. There was no trial.
And so
I mean,
that's my point. What I
there was
do
no
know
trial.
for sure,
Like,
which
why
is
was
why
supposed to take her impact statement seriously when there was no trial?
that is my point.
Okay.
What I do know, which is under oath and sworn statements, is what I got in touch with you about with respect to, we now have 7 digital forensic experts, and this is what's incredible. 4 of those 7 are former FBI.
Before we go down that thread, I just wanted to mention, and I don't know if this is an issue for you guys, but there was 15 other victim impact statements from all different individuals. So that's like, dang, how do we get over that?
Again, if we had like a 3-hour podcast, I can go.
How does he not understand he's getting cooked? Which is crazy. Like, Ethan doing a slow burn and just like very slightly releasing the gas valve. Just like ever so slightly. Like, how does he not recognize that this is a hostile environment? How much of a fucking cultist are you that you think other motherfuckers also are just going to sit there and be like, wow, I know the crimes that this person has committed. I know the crimes that I'm going to sit there and fucking defend. And he doesn't even realize, like, at least you should have had, like, I don't know, he should have done his due diligence. He did so much. He did so much work trying to defend, like, child pornography and no work to find out whether or not the show he was going on was going to attack him for it. It makes no sense.
Go into different things. This is the short of it, though. Just to even answer, like I said, my intent wasn't to try to defend or combat like all these different allegations. But again, what people don't realize, the way that the narrative was out there, is that 17,000 people from around the world took these courses. Okay. 1 in 400 of participants in the classes that Keith had created were billionaires. We had people from Stanford, from Harvard, entrepreneurs. These were very thoughtful, rational people taking courses that had a profound effect on their life.
Right? I mean, Scientology is the same way, and they get vilified too. They have tons of famous people, tons of rich people, and it's unfair that Scientology is vilified, don't you think?
I haven't taken Scientology. I don't agree with.
Oh my God, Ethan just literally signed this dude up for Scientology. He's gonna like investigate Scientology immediately after this interview is over and become the latest cult member. Oh my God. He's like, oh shit, there's another cult out there? That's crazy. What the fuck am I doing defending Keith Raniere when I could just be a part of Scientology?
Yeah, but my point is, I don't agree with character assassination, or speaking badly about a group just because they're different or you don't like them. But the reason I mentioned about the 17,000 is that if you actually look at the trial, in the NXIVM trial, there's actually, out of 17,000 people, I think in the trial, don't take my word for it, I think there's only 3 people that were students of the 17,000 that were even claiming they were victims of a crime.
So the only
3 out of 7.
I mean, dude, you can't argue with those. Dude, he only predated 3 children out of 17,000 students. I mean, this is literally you fuck one goat, but for pedophilia. Okay, it's like you go your whole life without fucking a goat, and then you fuck a goat one time, and everyone calls you goat fucker. But instead of goats, we're talking about children, okay? That's insane. What an insane argument to make. But he's making it brilliant. Actually brilliant, dude. Fucking, he said, think about all the people that he hasn't sexually assaulted.
Only 3 people claimed that they were molested by Keith.
Well, no, they weren't even claiming that they were molested. There's not even. This is like how the insanity and the exaggeration of what's out there.
Right.
There's not a single charge of Keith assaulting or raping or hurting anyone means of violence. There's nothing in the trial of that.
Right. There's no violence. They're only saying he coerced them, but that's not really a crime, is it?
Well, that's what they're claiming. But
Right.
my point is that if you want to look at the reality, if you even want to say that everything that happened in the trial is true,
Yeah.
this is a man who's
Like, what is he saying? Like, is he saying that like the 15-year-old girl was like asking for it? Because like, gross. Okay, somehow a fucking level that I did not think the sex cult victim / also brainwasher. This guy's not a victim either, by the way. This guy's like literally doing advocacy for sex cults. So like, remember that. Is saying
now convicted and sentenced to 120 years without any violence, weapons, drugs.
Right. And I'm with you 100% because coercion's not even a crime. Like it's not illegal to manipulate people.
Well,
it just means you're smarter in a way. You know what I mean? Like if you're able to manipulate people to do what you want, this just means you're smarter.
So again, and this is a whole conversation about, things in the trial.
Right.
But the bigger issue, the thing that is, I think, vital and relevant to everyone who's listens to you, and then also just all citizens in the United States. We now have 4 former FBI agents that were digital forensic experts that have come out that under sworn testimony shows that the child pornography evidence was to a scientific certainty tampered with and also planted.
That is very concerning.
Some of the evidence points that some of those some of the modifications took place while in the possession of the FBI.
That is very concerning. So what is the so what's the goal here, to get a retrial for Keith?
Well, the ultimate goal is trying to investigate these crimes.
Right.
There's clear beyond probable.
I gotta say something here before we continue. I will never, ever in a million years take the justification that Ethan didn't know what he was doing ever again, or could not control his urges ever again, because this motherfucker is shutting down like a goddamn steel trap. Okay? It's been like 20 minutes and he hasn't fucking caved or broken character one fucking time, bro. If you can do this for this interview, you can also get away with like a 2-hour broadcast where you don't say things about the NRA. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, dude. He is so tapped in. He is so laser focused. If you get away with this level of mischief, you should be able to control yourself about the NRA.
Cause that crimes were committed by FBI agents and potentially even the prosecution and maybe other entities as well in the DOJ.
So we're going to
and that is an effect of that.
Yeah.
Because crimes were committed against someone who is being tried in a trial to convict them,
right.
That person should ultimately be let free.
Let him free.
And so
let free Keith. Well, what's interesting is that, first of all, the FBI is a criminal organization just from the start. I mean, it's insane the things that they've done to people, like tampering evidence in the case of Keith. But I think that because they did that, we should probably just expunge the extortion, the identity theft, the forced labor, the conspiracy to commit identity theft, exploiting of a child, forced labor. Wire fraud, and so we should expunge all those, huh?
It took me a second to get your humor because there's also a little delay. I was like, is he making a joke? I was like,
yeah, I know. Sorry, I just yeah, but so what do we do about those other ones, right? Because we got to convince everyone that Keith is
bro. He's still It didn't take you a second. It didn't take you a second. It definitely. I don't think he still got it. I don't know how the fuck he broke character and the dude still hasn't gotten it. What the fuck?
A cool dude.
Bro, I swear to God, people in cults are literally they're just wired a different way. There's no other explanation for this, man. There is no other explanation for what is happening, what we're watching right now. I do not get it. This is just a clear-cut example. You just broke your brain and then rebuilt it in such a weird way.
Well, this is what I'm saying is that we don't need to convince anyone of how cool he is. Someone can think that Keith Raniere, they can believe he's the devil. That's ultimately irrelevant and a distraction to the reality of, did this person receive due process? If we want to live in a society that we want to have a justice system that treats everyone exactly the same, whether you think someone is the devil or you think someone is Mr. Rogers, they should be treated exactly the same under the law. Now, if it's the case that the government actually had evidence on Keith Raniere, then the question then becomes, well, why would they need to fabricate and tamper with evidence?
Right. That is the question. Free Keith. Actually,
Well,
I want to talk. I want to
just to answer.
Oh, go ahead. I wanted to ask you
Just
about
the
your
last thing.
Sure. Go ahead.
I just wanted to just make one other comment, because you said, as I know you were being facetious about all these other charges.
Yeah.
Mysticious. Not a word, dog.
Yeah.
If you again, there.
By the way, the subtitles correctly said facetious, but that's not what he was saying. He was not saying facetious. He said mysticious. Subtitles said facetious. I don't think he said that.
These buzzwords of sex trafficking and forced labor. Yes, those on its face value sound horrific.
Right, but
buzzwords.
What does it even mean?
Exactly. Like when you think of, if you heard that you're, someone that got charged with sex trafficking, what would you imagine?
Yeah, I would imagine somebody was locked to what do you call? Yeah, locked to a radiator, forced to do like webcam work, or you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's that, by the way, is a real thing. Sex trafficking, people being kidnapped, forced into sex slavery is a real thing. If you actually look at the evidence of what
a real thing that Keith Raniere did, by the way, or attempted
happened in this trial. You have a 29-year-old female who is an actress living in Manhattan, who is a part of the NXIVM community. She was taking classes. She was in a relationship with Keith. She also had a history of being more kinky. Together, they had come up with an experience where, and this is literally, if you look at the transcripts, this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
One woman, this 29-year-old, received oral sex from another woman, and no money was exchanged. She took a bus from Brooklyn to Albany.
Right.
And they convicted Keith Raniere of sex trafficking.
Just because she was kinky.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
Right.
The same woman, the 29-year-old actress, she's also the victim of the alleged forced labor.
Mm-hmm.
This is a woman who had to transcribe 5 hours of video for a memorial, and she read 50 articles that Keith had written. And she gave feedback on them and actually loved reading them.
Mm.
He was convicted of forced labor.
Because she wasn't paid for her work, or what?
Well, that's what they were claiming.
And how old was she?
They were able to concoct. She was 29 years old. But my point is that there's what's in the media, which isn't. And of course, if you hear these words, it's not like I don't hear these things: forced labor, sex trafficking, and it causes me to have caution. And I'm like, holy crap, what happened here?
But this one sounds really bad, and hopefully, because you have such an intimate understanding and you have a great way of explaining it. So how do we do the sexual exploitation of a child? Because that one sounds so bad. So how do we break that one down?
Yeah, it's just like Swerves. It isn't rape unless money is involved. I fucking knew it. Yeah.
That one is also related to the child pornography, as I said. So they found 22 photos of a naked woman. Now, by looking at the photos is not how they realized that it was child pornography.
But it's women he knew, right? It was girls he knew.
Yeah, these are women that he knew.
Yeah, and so somebody had pictures of them naked when they were kids. But it wasn't Keith.
Well, no, but this is just if I could just finish real quick, is that the 22 photos were not deemed child pornography because they were photos of some sexual act. The way that they deemed them to be child pornography was based off of the file dates. And based off of the file dates, they then said when the photos were taken is when this person
they probably didn't even look like kids in the picture.
That's what that's my point is that by looking at the photo, they weren't deemed child pornography.
And I mean, if you saw the photo, which you should get a hold of those photos, they probably look like
what the fuck. Ethan, come on now. Ethan's like, yeah, find the CP.
I have not seen
adults.
I have not seen the photos.
Oh, you haven't?
Those are, those are contraband photos.
Right.
But my point is,
Wait. Okay, so okay, got it. So you recognize it. Got it. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you see the photo? I'm sorry. Huh. Interesting. That's a bit of an admission, I think. Right? Are they? Is that CP then? Because I thought it was fake. What happened?
is that, again, when you hear the word child pornography, it incites, all these horrible images and fears. But what we're talking about is on not on someone's computer, not on their camera, not on a camera card, in a random external hard drive. There's 22 photos of a naked woman who they deemed was underage because of the file dates. So just the last thing is the sexual exploitation of a minor.
Yeah, that's so weird. Why is it contraband if the fucking photos are of an adult woman? Like, why did he have such an immediate reaction to that? You know what I mean? It's like, odd.
Is because supposedly they were able to.
He keeps saying underage woman. Oh my God. Like, you can't say woman when you're talking about a 13-year-old. And also, like, underage woman is an insane thing to say.
To link through a media card and from a camera, and that media card to a scientific certainty by 7 digital forensic experts, 4 former FBI, was modified while in the possession of the FBI because they were able to link that media card to a camera that's allegedly Keith owned. That's how he was charged with sexual exploitation of a minor.
That's so ridiculous that, like, that's all they need.
Wait, I don't know if you're being.
No, I'm dead serious. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's scary, the world we live in, where, like, and people can just say whatever, and then, like, oh, you just change the data on a file card, and that's all it takes.
You know what's wild about this? And a chatter also pointed this out. This is a problem that you come to when you don't get your ducks in order, okay? When you want to tackle an issue head on and immediately rush to hit every avenue, right? Oftentimes, the thing that people do is set up a different, like, logical box, right? But internally, some of the avenues that you're tackling immediately contradict one another. Now, what I mean by that is, if it is true that the FBI planted this evidence, why did they have to tamper with the date and time? If it's an adult person that they planted, why didn't they plant CP? The FBI owns plenty of CP. The FBI was the facilitator of the largest trove of child pornography on the planet. Why didn't they use one of that? Why did they use an adult woman? If it's an adult woman in the fucking footage, why do you immediately say it's contraband? You know what I mean? Yeah, by the way, what I said is true, for the record, about the FBI. It just doesn't make sense. It does not make sense that, even in the new logical boundaries that this person is trying to operate, because they're so overzealous. Because they're so overzealous about, like, tackling every fucking avenue and hitting it from all angles, they end up basically contradicting themselves.
It's crazy. It's scary.
Yeah, it's the same argument. Yeah, exactly. It's the same argument of the January 6ers. It was Antifa, but also don't arrest them. If it's Antifa, why not arrest them? Antifa is bad and they did something wrong.
As a man, I'm scared of that.
Everyone should be scared of this. This is why the reason we're trying to reach out to people is because the narrative is so strong and the prejudice against Keith and NXIVM is so intense, is that basically it stops people from having a rational, open conversation about, wait a minute, what actually took place here? And what took place here is not just, oh, there was some prejudice in a trial. is that clearly you have government actors, specific personnel in the FBI. And again, this is not an attack on the whole FBI.
Actually, there's one thing I want to get your thoughts on here. So Camilla's the one who he apparently had photos of. That was the 15-year-old girl who did an impact statement, or she did an impact statement and said that he took her virginity when she was 15, which is outrageous. I mean, you can't. The thing is, you can't. If she was willing, what's the problem? I don't get it. But anyway, right? You understand that.
Again,
right.
Whether or not that happened or
it's
didn't
not
happen,
assault if she liked it. And Keith is awesome.
I'm starting to, I'm feeling your humor a little bit more. Like I said, there's a little delay as well.
So Camilla,
I just want to be super clear again. I don't support sexual assault, rape in any way.
Yeah.
I'm not here to be able to be a referee about what he said or she said or what happened behind closed doors. What I do know is that I don't believe that somebody giving a victim impact statement that isn't under oath, which is basically no different from somebody going on Twitter and saying, I was raped by this person.
Right. It's just
with absolutely no due process.
Right. Because
could be looked at.
He doesn't even know them. So it's like the same as a random tweet. Like they've never even met.
No, they
do
have
know
met
each other.
Ethan.
Okay. Shit.
They do know, but they do know each other.
They do know each other.
But do you understand what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So this girl Camille, who she said in her impact statement that Raniere and his co-conspirator, who also trafficked Daniela for labor and services, said they confined her to a hotel room, or to a room, for nearly 2 years in an attempt to force Daniela to work for him. And then Daniela was told that if she left the room, she would be sent to Mexico without any identifying documents. So that's probably what they mean by like sex trafficking or...
This is really good stuff for Ethan to like inevitably do this exact same thing to someone who's defending Andrew Tate, by the way. When the investigation is concluded and more evidence comes out about Andrew Tate's behavior, Andrew Tate's activities, and how he actually coerced people, I told you, like, I've told Ethan this before about as well, that this is like a perfect analogous situation. Chat, calm the fuck down. We're going to move on. I'm not going to rewind. It's very long. Okay. It is a perfectly analogous situation. And you can use the exact same tactics. Okay. Yeah. He couldn't hold a smirk. I got it. Calm down.
Or forced labor, but that's just someone on Twitter just making shit up.
Well, did you see the second season of The Vow?
No, I didn't watch the second season. Was that? Yeah.
Gotcha. I don't blame you.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah.
It's incredible. Again, from just the label of somebody, I think it's document servitude. That sounds horrible.
Right.
But again, if you just look at the facts, this is a young girl who is who is in a room in her family's home.
Okay.
Like she was in a room and the door wasn't locked.
Right.
And if anyone questions me on that, this is incredible. This is how amazing how a documentary can seemingly put eerie music on something and make it seem horrific.
Right.
In the documentary, they're actually doing a voiceover of her reading from her lines from the court transcript. So they're reading it verbatim from what she said in court as she was testifying under oath. And at the very end of this episode, as she's talking about how she's been
Bro, it's so crazy how you can make like coerced sexual acts on a minor seem horrific by playing creepy music over it. It's like, bro, you've lost the fucking plot, dog. Like when words like that are coming out of your fucking mouth, you've literally lost your mind, okay? Like, they should probably institutionalize this motherfucker just for the safety of others. You know what I mean? Like, yo, dude, obviously, like, listen, it's so crazy how you can just make anything scary. You take footage of a guy going to a playground and just, like, randomly shooting children looks so scary by playing creepy music over it. It's like, otherwise, it's a totally normal act.
Confined to this room for 2
What
years.
the fuck?
Right.
Do you know how the scene ends?
How?
She says, and then I walked out of the room.
Oh, because she could have left the whole time. They don't really put
Because
that
she
out
could
there.
have. Of course, but it's, you know, it's
Yeah.
the scary music and it's haunting and this illustrations and the cartoon and it's,
right.
but the way that it's in the media, it sounds as if you know, Keith Raniere
You know what?
kidnapped
I
this
understand.
person,
I understand
put
you
them
don't.
in a room.
Yeah. I want to ask you.
And that is the issue of, you know, again, of why I reached out is that in the media can do whatever they want and paint anyone, you know, with whatever colors they want to create a certain image, and that does not necessarily match the reality of even just basic facts.
Because it's basically her fault for not leaving the room. And what's even crazier is that the whole jury they all got. I don't know how the whole jury agreed on that. But I want to ask you about your experience with Tourette syndrome. I'm super, super fascinated by this. This is so this is why kind of NXIVM is kind of interesting, because everyone always just kind of sees like the bad side. That's what's famous now. But NXIVM actually has been helping people in these incredible ways. For example, you had debilitating Tourette syndrome, right? And then I think you joined NXIVM, and Keith was able to help you overcome it totally, like totally cured. Like your Tourette's is 100% gone.
So yes, the answer is I no longer have Tourette syndrome.
Wow.
And it was through the courses that Keith created. It wasn't even one-on-one sessions with anything like with Keith.
Wow.
It was, you know, he had created a curriculum that was around the world. Like I said, 17,000 people took it. I went through the classes just like everybody else. But as I went through them and started to build more self-awareness about myself, I mean, ultimately the courses are classes on emotional intelligence. You know, we had a center here in New York City on 5th and 37th Street, you know, where it's just, you go and sit in chairs and you have conversations with people.
And that cured your Tourette's?
You know, that is...
Just having
so
that.
I just want to be clear. It's not.
Go ahead.
Yes, it was through these conversations and through these classes, which were a lot of them were philosophical inquiries about different aspects of life. There were practical things. It was also a goal setting thing for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And it was through these classes and these conversations that beat my Tourette's completely mind over body.
Wow. And so what is it that you tell yourself? Like, just stop ticking. Like, come on, don't be a pussy or whatever. Or I know I'm joking. I don't mean it like that. But like, I'm over this shit. Sucks. Tourette's is fucking annoying, and I'm just over it.
Yeah. So it's not like that at all. The most simple way that I can describe it is that I've always talked about Tourette's is like there's an itch and there's a scratch.
Oh yeah.
And the Tourette's is that uncomfortable feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ticking is me scratching that itch.
Yeah. Tell Ethan, right? Ethan. You know, it's like an itch and a scratch, man. Yeah.
And most treatments and the way that we look at Tourette's is, you know, okay, how do we just help the person with this dynamic? So if you take medication, it numbs the itch, so that stops you from wanting to scratch it because you don't feel the intense.
Stop it? Like, if you're talking to someone with Tourette syndrome, what would kind of be your advice to them? Because I know it's just a horrible disease for the people who haven't cured it for themselves yet, and I feel like this knowledge. What would be your advice?
Well, I don't say, just to be clear, I've never said, and so we actually had a documentary that came out. It's called My Tourette's. It's on YouTube for free now.
Okay.
Sadly, almost no one in the world knows about it. It came out after you know, the negative press, the real negative press, started coming out about 5 years.
Bro, sadly, no one saw our propaganda piece that we did about a man faking Tourette's and faking the curing of his Tourette's. So no one saw it. It's just so sad. Nobody will look at like the other fake shit that Keith Raniere is doing and only focusing on the very real, horrific crimes that he has committed.
Years ago. Okay. But in this documentary, you watch these profound transformations of people beating Tourette's mind over body. But even in the movie, we don't say it's a cure. This is not it. We didn't have a cure for Tourette's. Clearly, we had a set of tools for people that were open and wanted to go on a different type of journey. You know, go on more of a looking inward.
But you guys did cure
for
it.
some.
You said it's 100% gone. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. That sounds like a
I just
cure.
don't say. The reason I don't say cure is because also I just don't think of it as something that you can cure in that way. I have like a completely different. I don't even think of it as a medical disorder in that way now. But I just want to be super clear. Is that I don't know.
Bro, he said, Tourette's is just vibes, dog. A lot of these disorders are just fucking vibes based. Also, another hallmark of cults is like how much they weaponize things that, you know, things that are studied in psychology while simultaneously shitting on psychology and just the medical industry in general, medicine in general. It's always very interesting. It's like, yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, every cult does this, by the way. Scientology does this. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard was like very notorious for his anti-psychiatry, anti-psychology takes. It's very interesting. It's science denialism, but there's an element above that. It's not just science denialism. It's specifically shitting on psychology while simultaneously using things that you would only know about if you actually studied psychology to break people down. It's like looking at the components of like love bombing or gaslighting or whatever the fuck and being like, oh, none of that shit's real, while also learning how to do it and like using it to your advantage. Forbidden Risk style. Exactly.
I don't know if we could help everyone. I don't know that. The people that we helped wanted to be helped. If someone wants to lose weight, they could have the best trainer in the whole world. But if they don't want to lose weight,
but weight's
doesn't
not,
matter if you got Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, but being fat is not a neurological disorder. So that's what really interests me. Because to all the literature, it says Tourette's cannot be cured. So it's incredible.
Look, you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, right.
I lived with it for 20 years. I became a well-known inspirational speaker around the country, talking about Tourette's, living with Tourette's. My whole life was based off of Tourette's.
I can't imagine how hard that
I
must
get
have been.
It was, so then to take a class on emotions and now to be able to have a conversation with you like this, I couldn't even have dreamt of it. I mean, it just wasn't even something that could be possible because of like what you said. I have Tourette's, this neurological genetic disorder that's involuntary and has no cure. Luckily, because of what Keith created, and with Nancy Salzman, who also is in jail now, I've been able to go on a profound journey to live a very different life.
Can I ask you a question?
To answer your question,
do you still get the urge to do tics, or is that completely gone? Like, where did you cut it off?
So the thing about the itch and the scratch, because of how the courses were very different, it's not like I'm sitting here and my itch is 100%, and I'm just like, okay, don't tick, don't say something, hold it back.
Right.
The courses were different than any other thing that I did, is because by going on that exploration.
He lied, right? He never actually had Tourette's, right? Like, well, I don't think you can, like, quote unquote, cure it. He's just lying. He hasn't admitted it, but yes. Okay.
I found out that my itch was way more emotional and psychological than it was physiological.
Oh,
and as a result, and working internal issues I had, anger stuff, beliefs about all this sorts of stuff, as a result of that, my itch went down. So right now,
down to 0.
Do I still have an itch?
Yeah.
It's not at 0, but it's probably at 4 out of 100.
Okay.
So to call that Tourette's is not, I don't even think of it as Tourette's. I think of it as I'm a person that has a body, and all of us have uncomfortable.
4 out of 100? Yeah, for him, it's just turned into defending convicted sex trafficker. Instead of, I guess, what was it? Someone was saying that earlier, it was saying the N-word. So he just he reappropriated it into defending a convicted sex trafficker, I think. That's what happened. That's why he doesn't realize what's going on.
Things. And what
Wait, is that a spoiler alert? Does he admit that? Oh, fuck, man. God damn it, chat. Stop spoiling it,
dude. To understand.
It's like, if you're going to spoil something, spoil the top of the hour ad break that comes 20 minutes into the hour because I forgot to run it. Don't spoil shit like that. God damn it, dude. A 3-minute ad break is upon you, though. Okay? Here's a spoiler alert for you. If you don't want the ad break to spoil your uninterrupted broadcast experience, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime by I can't even talk anymore. I'm such an idiot, dude. I'm sorry. Okay, you can get gifted a sub. You can fucking subscribe. Anyway, fucking Speed Razor, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
And this is for me, is that ultimately I was, in a sense, had an impulse disorder.
Mm.
It doesn't mean I had a neurological disorder.
I found this video,
or
this old video of you, I found really compelling from 14 years ago. Do you mind if I watch it real fast for the audience? Just to kind of give you some background? Yeah, so this is from 14.
Absolutely.
This was 14 years ago from a local news story or something like that, right? That covered your story?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I literally revealed it right. Oh,
yes.
Jesus.
And did you, yeah, so, okay, let me watch it.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were about to press play.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to press play right now, okay? Are you okay if I press play?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you were hitting it.
Okay.
Trigger warning, I suspect.
Can you play it, Dan?
It's
on me. It's on me.
Suspense.
You got to hit play.
Are you ready, Mark?
I'm ready.
Okay.
A day before my 17th birthday is when I really ran into the greatest obstacle I had ever encountered with my Tourette syndrome.
A St. Louis area teenager who says he has Tourette syndrome claims he was kicked off a Greyhound bus in Indianapolis because of his disability.
I got on the bus and they made an announcement about my Tourette syndrome. And earlier in line, a lady had heard me saying some inappropriate words. And she stood up and she said, well, how come he can say this word?
With that, this Clayton High Jr., who turns 17 tomorrow, says he was kicked off the bus in Indianapolis.
So your tick was actually to say the N-word, right?
Yeah, at different times I was saying what would be the worst thing that I could possibly say in a given moment. So, if I was around a fat person, I would want to tick you're fat. If I was around a black person, I would want to tick the N-word.
So at the time,
it was a nightmare.
At the time you were on a bus and with, it seems like from this image, predominantly black, and then you said the N-word on the bus.
Bro, his tick was just being Italian, it seems.
Yeah, to make a long story short, I had told the bus driver about my Tourette's before I got on, and then I got on the bus. Then I was ticking it more, and obviously customers were complaining, and rightfully so. I mean, they had no idea what was going on. And then the bus driver, as I've gotten older, I actually thought the company dealt with it as well as they could. I mean, it's just a difficult situation. I mean, just because it's a medical disorder, although I don't see it the same way now, but of course at the time, what do you do? It's just not, I don't think it's as simple as, oh, well, this person has a disability. They just have, can do whatever they want, carte blanche. Like, it's a very difficult thing because I'm also saying something that's offending people. Luckily, nothing bad happened. I was safe. It could have escalated and gotten very bad.
So you went, okay, so let me keep watching. So you're on a bus and you said the N-word and then people got mad at you, right? So that's the kind of, and then the bus driver kicked you off, yeah. So let me keep watching.
And ultimately, after a few...
Elliot says he was on his way home from a church youth camp when the incident happened. Elliot and his family say they've traveled all over the country and never been denied access to transportation. His family calls it a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Up to that point.
I appreciate that you guys all made it into kind of turned it into like a crusade here and went to the local news about it and stuff because it's, I have a theory for you.
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. I think you actually fake having Tourette's. Yeah, I think you actually don't have it.
Well, I'm open to
here's my
what did you think I had?
Well, let me just break it down. I think this is kind of a funny thing. I doubt this is what happened, but maybe you just called someone the N-word on the bus and then you're like, "Oh, no, I have Tourette's." Because what's interesting to me, and I know that's funny, But what's interesting to me is that you've made like a whole career being a motivational speaker about how you cured your Tourette's and stuff, and that's kind of become like a big part of your identity. But what's interesting is, as somebody with Tourette's, I actually have Tourette's. I know it's not curable, so I just find that claim to be absolutely a pseudoscientific, crazy claim that has no backing in science or at all. And I think you're actually, in my opinion, right, as someone with Tourette's, I think you're scamming people.
Well, first off, did you say that you have Tourette's?
Okay. This part is so funny because in his mind, I wonder what he's thinking right now. He's like, wait a minute, I found a valuable ally with a massive platform who is gonna like defend the sex trafficking pedophilia guy, but me faking Tourette's is a bridge too far. Uh-oh. I think I fucked it up. Like, what is he thinking in this situation? In his mind, the record scratch moment is like, oh, fuck. I thought things were going so well. I thought I found a new ally. He's like, oh, fuck, man. That's a bridge too far, I guess, for this guy.
I do have Tourette's.
Yeah, he fumbled the bag. The Tourette's bag was the bridge too far, you know?
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I know. That's why I was so surprised when you emailed me, because I was like, I have Tourette's and I also fucking hate Andrew Tate. I've like talked like continually and openly, relentlessly about what a piece of shit he is and how much I hate him. And what's interesting too, Mark, is that I've also talked about how much I hate Keith and NXIVM and what a psycho he is. So when I got your email, I was like, this is incredible. And I could totally see how it is you fell into a cult, because you clearly don't do any research.
Oh. Oh, no.
You know, when I was watching one of your videos, I thought I saw you ticking. And so it did cross my mind. I said, I wonder if he has Tourette's.
Yeah, I do.
Why would you? That's so interesting. Why would you think someone would fake it? That's a pretty messed up thing for someone to fake.
No, I agree. But you've made a good living from faking it, doing like motivational stuff and writing books and stuff like that. And it's just, as far as I know, and that's just a theory, right? Because I don't know. I mean, I just have Tourette's myself.
I mean, dude, ask that question to literally 90% of people on Instagram. And it's not even just Tourette's. People fucking do way wilder shit.
Oh, but obviously I don't know anything about you. So it's just a theory. But I just think that you can't.
I just want to understand what he watched that he thought was going to make Ethan like a non-hostile interviewer to him. Like, what did he watch? There's no shot he watched anything, right? What did he watch?
Cure it, actually. And on your website, it says you overcame it, mind over body. And that's just not possible.
But that's why, I don't know if you remember what I just said 2 minutes ago, is that we've never claimed it's a cure.
Right. Well, let's see. On the, if we pull up your website, well, when I started, you said you're 100% like over Tourette's, right? You did say that.
Yeah, well, I said that I don't think of it as I have Tourette's anymore.
Right. You don't have it anymore.
I guess what I could say is, yeah, the fact that you don't like Tate and you don't like Raniere is not a reason that I couldn't talk to someone. If anything, it's about, that's not the point of trying to find people that love him. It's if you can find people, even if somebody hates someone, the question is, do we believe that there should be due process in this country? And are we okay with government officials or FBI agents committing?
Bro, this guy literally did. Dude, that's so funny. I'm imagining he just looked at these titles and was like, yeah, okay, this guy is open-minded. That's all it takes for me. He came back and said, why does it lie? Oh, dude, that's awesome. That is so good. God, that's juicy.
Committing crimes to convict a man. So
Right.
by
Yeah, but in
somebody
the-
not liking it,
Yeah, but in
Yeah, for those of you who weren't around earlier today to see this, a similar version of this happen to your boy, me, okay? Here is the former G2 esports executive doing the exact same thing, but with Andrew Tate and myself instead of Ethan and Keith Raniere and Andrew Tate. Here is Carlos Ocelot saying, "It is fair and honorable to acknowledge when people you don't fancy do the right thing. It honors Hasan to state the truth, even if it alienates his audience. I'm genuinely and positively surprised. Good for him. Handshake emoji." More information to come out. I think it is a human rights violation what they're doing to Andrew Tate. I'll come out and say it. I want more information to come out. 7-second clip. Like, how do you watch a 7-second clip and go, that's probably the truth? There's no additional investigation necessary. Yeah. So I quote tweeted it with a 36-second clip. Yeah, they're looking for anything and everything. Look, I just want more information to come out. And I think it is a human rights violation what they're doing to Andrew Tate. I'll come out and say it. Like, all things considered, the fact that they won't let him shave his fucking head. I mean, dude, come on. Actually, like, you know, I'm a disability advocate, as you guys know. I'm a disability activist, as you guys know. And one of the things that I obviously consider a disability is the follically challenged community. And I think it's vile that this follically challenged man is being... Yeah, they're looking for anything. Dude, come on, dude. Yeah. He's so fucking dumb. Of course you're an Andrew Tate fan. Never mind, he's still a dog cunt. Dude, why would he post his own L? His whopping L. It's just like, why? You immediately move away from the situation and hope that you don't signal boost it to your follower base. You know what I mean? I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. He's so fucking... It's just, oh, Jesus Christ. The original person that posted that clip said they studied body language and no, you really think he's innocent? Oh, I love that. That makes me even happier. I mean, yeah, smartest Andrew Tate fan. Like, smartest tater tot. Smartest fucking tater tot. Oh. I love that. Anyway, let's continue.
the email.
by someone,
Yeah.
but somebody not liking him is, if anything, is definitely better. I definitely did not research deeply every single person. Obviously,
At
we're
all.
in a
Well, yeah,
difficult
you didn't look.
situation.
You actually didn't look into it at all. Like the most basic. But let me break it down, Mark, because in a way, I see you as.
Well, just to be
Well, hold on.
just to be very
Okay, go
just
ahead.
to be very blunt.
Go ahead. Yeah, be blunt.
Yeah, you are right. I did not do research.
Yeah.
Someone that I know, who's Keith, currently he's been sitting in the shoe for over 200 days. So they're basically torturing a U.S. citizen, while at the same time he has filed.
I love, like, when the only time you can get some of these Americans to fucking be like prison abolitionists is when they're defending a sex criminal, an international sex criminal. It's like, come on, man. Like, yeah, I do believe that, like, solitary confinement is torture, okay? But it's so stupid that, like, the only vocal advocates of this in the media are always defending the worst motherfuckers, dude.
In the Eastern District of New York with 4 former FBI agents, showing that the FBI tampered with digital evidence. And they're now escalating the torture, and they might ship him to what's known as a CMU.
Can I read a excerpt
which is a
from your?
communications.
Can I read an excerpt for you? It says, "Do you?" This is from your website. This is your website, right? MarkElliott.com.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to beat your Tourette's? I want to help you, but currently the government has threatened to put me in jail for being public about how I completely overcame my Tourette's with NXIVM.
Yep.
So when you say completely overcame, I just assumed that meant like that you have a cure for it.
Yeah,
Bro, he's still trying to defend. Oh my God. It's fucking bananas that he's still trying to defend like the sex cult leader. And he's using anything and everything he can. It's crazy.
I can address that in a second. We can talk about that. But the point is that
can you cure like bipolar or
of,
something? Can you cure like schizophrenia? Because that would be really good for a lot of people.
The reason, so because of how big the case is,
right.
And I'm reaching out to people that have influence. I believe that even though you might hate those people, and I didn't know the depth of how much you dislike them, but
yeah,
okay.
No. Yeah.
Is that there's something that we can agree upon, I thought. At least
here's
that,
something,
are we okay?
Well, we can all agree on we can all agree on photos. Here's photos of his initials being branded into women who accused him of running a clandestine sex cult. Here is his.
By the way, Andrew Tate did this shit too. Instead of branding them, he tattooed them, but it's the same shit, same principle.
Branded into their skin. Here's an up close for you. It says his initial, Keith Ramirez, branded into their skin.
What's your point? That's not what I'm here to talk to you about.
Oh, my point. The point is
right.
No, that was just for fun. That was just like a funsies thing.
Yeah, but the thing
is, just like a fun little group building exercise. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Why did he do this? Because if I'm curious, I want to ask you.
The thing is, if you're gonna say things, they need to be factual.
They're just kinky. They're just a little kinky.
But Keith Raniere didn't brand anyone.
Oh, right.
He's not even in the room.
He coerced people to do it. Yeah, so coercion's a crime, actually. I think coercion is a crime. Sex trafficking usually happens through coercion, not by locking people to a radiator. So that, I think, is where we kind of disconnect there. And actually, what's crazy is the jury agreed with me. 12 people agreed.
I had told you before. I know I had told you before.
Oh, and the appeal court.
Is a crime.
Oh, what's crazy is he appealed, and then the appeals court also upheld these 7 horrific charges against him. So that's like a lot of people.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Like I had said, I had said to you in the very beginning is that I believe most of the things are not true out there. That doesn't mean there isn't kernels of truth. I wanted to talk to you about something that I think is greater than Keith Raniere, the fact that we have evidence that shows that the FBI committed crimes.
Yeah, but the FBI I agree with you that the FBI is shitty and they do that kind of stuff. But even if we discount everything the FBI allegedly, or you say let's just assume for the sake of this conversation that they did do that, then you still have to explain all these other charges. Like even if he didn't have child pornography on a hard drive, right? And let's just say he didn't do it. It was a conspiracy. Or maybe they changed the metadata. There's still racketeering, forced labor, wire fraud, sex trafficking, extortion. So do you have you know what I mean? So there's kind of an issue here.
Well, we've been, the thing is, look, this is the first time we've ever met, Ethan.
Yeah.
I said to you in the email that if you want to have more of an open, rational conversation where we can challenge things, in the first half of this, I talked to you about some of the facts that it sounded like you were agreeing with. I didn't realize that you were just trying to play me. The things that I said, I stand by. I don't need to change anything, even though now I know that I guess you were trying to have sort of a gotcha moment. But like I said, with the photos, with the woman, the HBO thing, the sex trafficking, which is a single sex act with no money.
He says, let's be rational and defend the sex trafficker cult leader, bro, who was caught with child pornography. Like, man, this kind of makes so much more sense. Like, the Andrew Tater Tot dynamic makes so much more sense when you think about human beings like this existing on the planet. You know what I mean? Especially because, like, Andrew Tater Tot did the exact same shit, but then also on top of that, like, he had clout, which is something that is like demonstrably important for a lot of the younger generation. And also on top of that, he like, God damn, bro. Also on top of the clout, he was, he was breaking motherfuckers' brains in a similar way. Oof. That's
Money
crazy.
exchange. These are things that
but
if someone wants to have a conversation.
Right. But you got to understand that no money exchanged and him not doing it himself is kind of the quintessential of a cultish kind of racketeering, like manipulative, coercive act. Like he's not the first person, right? Like Charles Manson, for example. Is Charles Manson guilty of murder? Well, answer that. Is Charles Manson guilty of murder? He never did anything.
I don't know. I don't.
Okay, I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it to you. Charles Manson, people say he was a member of a cult. His disciples went under his order or coercion to go and murder this family, right? And so his lawyer said, well, he didn't do anything. He wasn't even there. And so the question is, do you think Charles Manson is guilty? He was in jail right now for being involved in their murders, even though he wasn't there. He never held a knife in his hand. You know what I mean? And no money was exchanged. He didn't even pay them to do it.
I have.
Oh, he's dead. That's a correction. Let me issue a factual correction.
No, this is what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about the case. Obviously, I know of Charles Manson because of of how it's been. He's a very popularized name.
He's probably innocent too, right?
Well, I don't know, but what I do believe and what I'm absolutely will stand by is that I do think no matter how hated a person is, we should be absolutely open to questioning narratives. We should be able to question.
I think.
Bro, you could make this argument about Adolf Hitler, by the way. Like this dude is like one step removed from being like, well, Adolf Hitler didn't fucking kill every Jew personally. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? It's like, come on, you just got to go against the narrative, dog. You got to go against the narrative. What the fuck? This is absolute bananas. And for someone saying, are men okay? This cult also had a lot of prominent women, okay? Like, it wasn't Allison Mack or whatever. Like, there are plenty of female defenders of Keith Raniere, just like this dude, some of which are still operating within Hollywood. One that is ironically, or I guess unironically, friends with that fucking conservative guy. What's his name? God damn it. The fucking conservative guy that constantly talks about, like, LGBT grooming people. Conceptual James. Yes. Conceptual motherfucking James, dude. Allison Mack is just as bad. She's his Ghislaine.
Witnesses, we should be able.
I think part of a redemption of accepting people who are bad starts with them, coming to terms with what they've done.
But that's what I said from the get-go. I said, I'm not on here to try to get you to like Keith Raniere. But you can, I don't know if you remember, I did say to you, you can think he's the devil.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think he's the devil.
Do you remember when I said that? No, but my point is, if someone wants to believe that.
So you're saying we need to
that's not what I'm.
You're saying we need to take the time to look at the kind of the facts and the situations and come to just with our whole hearts and minds, come to a rational decision.
Well, my question to you is,
that's a trial.
Do you believe that there are?
That's a trial, by the way. He lost 2 of them.
No, but do you believe that it is okay under any circumstance for the government or government officials, whether it's a prosecutor, whether it's a judge, whether it's an FBI agent, to commit a crime to convict?
Of course not. No, never. Dude.
If we agree on that, Ethan.
Yeah.
If you and I can agree on that, that's all that matters. And that's why I'm here. I don't care.
That doesn't seem very significant. I mean, we can both agree that Krispy Kreme donuts are great, taste great, but that doesn't fucking really have any. That doesn't have nothing to do with wire fraud and racketeering.
Why do you believe that that's not significant?
Because it doesn't affect all the other unrelated crimes he was convicted of.
But no, but I think that the part where we're just missing is that
Sure.
you keep making it about this case. What I'm saying is what I'm addressing affects every single case in the
Oh,
United
this
States.
is bigger than Keith.
Yeah, Keith is not bigger than the justice system. If you allow or you are okay permitting government officials to commit crimes, to convict even a hated person, what you ultimately are saying is that you believe that prejudice and hate are more important than justice.
Here's you and Keith. He has really nice skin. Fuck.
Such a dumb
The thing
take.
is,
You did.
I'm trying to have a. I'm trying to have.
No,
I'm
me
trying
too.
to have a serious conversation.
No,
with
I was
you.
just struck by his
And-
really nice skin. Did he ever drop?
Well, I'm just
his-
saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, out of respect, I'm trying to have a conversation with you about something that affects millions of people around the justice. Millions of people in the justice system and are affected by our justice system. This isn't about Keith. It is about Keith because this is the specific case and the specific evidence that we have. Do you mind if I take a moment and read some of the quotes from the FBI agents?
No, I don't want to do that. Let me ask you this. I don't even blame you because honestly, in a sense, you're kind of the victim of you know what I mean? Like you're part of this organization that clearly has some powerful hold over you. And I'm really sorry that you got somehow you're involved in this. And I just like Keith is gone. He can't hurt you anymore.
For the record, I don't believe this man is a victim. Okay, I think he's like a victim in the sense that like he got duped into the cult, but like he's still like at a certain point, instead of saving yourself, if you are still advocating for this dude after like, the door is closed on the fucking guy, he can't hurt you, he's in fucking jail, you are personally advocating for a guy, you're riding for a guy that, I mean, you're a bad guy. You know what I mean? You're a predator yourself. You know what I mean? Like one of the best examples that he is not a good person and not a victim. Okay? One of the best examples of that is what I saw with that Tourette's website. Like he is still to this day using his Tourette's grift to somehow turn around and like defend Keith Raniere. That's so fucking insane, dude. That's insane. Yeah, Conceptual James and Nikki Klein. James Lindsay, Conceptual James is running to Elon Musk to help because people keep replying to his tweets with my screenshot. People need to stop flooding your replies with this photo. As a fan of yours, it's really making your Twitter unreadable. I open replies and this is all I see. Okay, James Lindsay, who is seen here with a member of the NXIVM sex cult whose leader is currently in prison for child sex trafficking. I taught him everything he knows. As good as we look at Elon Musk, is this a solvable problem? God, what a banger. His documentary on curing Tourette's? Yeah, I'm not watching that, dude. Come on.
You know what I mean? Like you're free, bro.
I appreciate the. I do believe that I'm free. I'm an adult that makes decisions in my
Just
own
like
life.
that girl in the
there's-
room. You're free, man. Just walk through the door.
What I can say again is, I reached out to you. I'm trying to talk about things that there's a lot of prejudice against talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You have a case that has international attention, that has a lot of hate and a lot of prejudice, and now we have
we're kind of you've said that. It's okay. Listen, I really do wish the best for you, and I'm sorry that you're dealing with all this stuff. It seems like you're going through a lot, and I just, I'm sorry, man. I don't know if there's anything, do they have photos of you? Like they must have, because that was their thing, right? Keith had like blackmail
there's
photos.
no photos. I just, for anyone who's listening that wants to find out more, they can go to makejusticeblind.com and they can look at the evidence with respect. with respect to the FBI and what I've been talking about here.
This is the video, right? Evidence of historic FBI corruption. This is the one you're talking.
Aiden Ross put a green light on Jake Sucky. No, he didn't. He said kill yourself. Okay, come on, guys. After sharing a clip of him showing porn to his audience, Aiden Ross took to my DMs and said, keep yourself safe. Smile. He just said, you know, the non-TOS violating version of kill yourself, which I think is pretty funny. Man, why are you always writing for Aiden? Wait, what? I'm not. I'm not writing for Aiden at all. It's keep yourself safe does not mean I'm going to kill you. It means kiss yourself. It's a way to say KYS. What? We're watching the Aiden Ross of Keith Raniere right now, for the record. For those of you who don't understand what's going on. We're literally watching the Aiden Ross of the adult version of Aiden Ross right now, but for Keith Raniere. It's analogous to ending an argument with "see you next Tuesday." I prefer to say kiss your sister. Keeping yourself safe is lame. Live on the edge. Keith Raniere with an E at the end. Whoa, is that how you say it? I don't fucking know. Look, I'm sure Aiden has a lot of... What is this? Aiden Ross on his way to stream porn after saying hot tub streamers should be banned. Yeah, apparently Aiden Ross... Did Aiden Ross accidentally show the porn or deliberately show it, by the way? Because I have no idea. I didn't want to look at the clip because I was worried that there's like actual porn in it. Wait, he on purpose? He posted porn on... He looked at porn on purpose?
Bro. I don't support it. Bro. What do y'all want to watch on Pornhub, bro?
What? Oh my God. I thought he like accidentally clicked on a link, dog. He blurred it. This is heavily blurred. The video is heavily blurred. I'm still not going to show it. Bro, come on, Aiden. Your audience is fucking children. Jesus Christ, dude. That is actually fucked up.